Alrighty, we're here with Mr. Yee, the principal at Greenfield Junior High. How you doing?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Good. All right, so an interview question I have for you is, what advice could you offer me on how to get the best from my students in the classroom?
I would say the biggest thing I believe is to have that age-appropriate relationship with them, finding that rapport, having a good connection with them. So number one, that they trust you, so then whatever instruction you then give, they are going to follow and listen because they have that connection with you. So finding out what they like, what their interests are, it's just even obviously knowing their names and just getting to know them goes a long way with their performance, I think, in the classroom.
Yeah, I agree. What classroom management strategies or approaches have you found to be effective or ineffective?
Effective ones, very clear expectations, so having clear policies and routines when the students come to your classroom, whether it's a traditional classroom setting or if it's in the gymnasium or locker room, that they understand what those procedures are so they follow them and follow through on those. So if someone breaks one of those policies, that you address it immediately, because that sets the tone, especially at the beginning of the year, for not only that student but the other students that are watching and listening. And then having those quick transitions in between activities so that there's no downtime or lag time for students to goof off or do something crazy. And then definitely being organized, especially in PE within equipment and having that ready beforehand and knowing where it's at. I've seen many teachers be successful at it, but then some that have failed because they weren't prepared, and that creates that downtime for students to do those things that we have to address, unfortunately.
Yeah. What are some important things for me to know about my students that could assist me?
Number one, each student is different and diverse, and as a teacher, you get that opportunity to find what makes that student tick. And that goes back to that first question of getting to know something about each student. Not every student's going to like every sport or topic that you introduce, but having a wide range of activities for students, and then finding something that students can be successful in, and then capitalizing on that to give them that opportunity to experience success in the classroom. But each student does learn differently, and each come with their own pros and cons, and that you have to learn how to deal with. Some you can deal with in one way, but you can't use that same approach with a different student sometimes. So understanding that balance and how to approach each student.
Oh, yeah. What do you feel are important goals that I should have for my students and myself?
I think always striving. Number one, that each day is a new day, and each day we get to perform and give our best each day. So regardless of what happened the day before, if we only achieved 75% or 80% of the goal, the next day I want to achieve 100% of that goal. And so have that as a daily goal to have, and then maybe sometimes even having a weekly or monthly one, and then tracking that so that you can see your progress on it, and then obviously the students see their progress and they can see where they've gone from point A to D or whatever and so on, so that they understand there is some growth in that, and then also show the potential at the end where they can be, not only at the end of this school year but even down the line, where the importance of physical education and why we get to do that every day.
Yeah. What strategies are helpful for engaging students?
Number one, being organized, having the equipment, your station set up, the quick transitions. I also believe in empowering the students, so finding those opportunities for students to show leadership in the classroom. If they're helping you set up, or they're being leaders in the different stations, and then rotating those so that everyone has that opportunity to do that. Just so the students can see the impact of their leadership in the classroom setting. So I think that's important.
Yeah, that's awesome. And last question, what suggestions do you have for building strong relationships with students and staff?
Number one, getting to know the names so that you can obviously say their names and get to know them that way. And then opportunities for them to see you in action, whether it's at a faculty meeting or a PLC where your voice is heard, so they can see, you know, what you can bring to the table and how you contribute to the team, and vice versa. You seeing them in action and having that opportunity to see what they're doing with the staff, and also finding ways to integrate your content area into theirs and vice versa as well, because that'll be huge to gain that trust and that rapport with the staff. Students seems to be the easy part because you get to see them on a daily basis and interact with them, get to know their interests and their names, etc. But staff is a little bit trickier just because you don't get to see them all the time. And that's usually the hardest part, is just opening that door and getting to meet someone.
Oh yeah.
But once you do that, all kinds of other doors open up after that.
Awesome. Appreciate your time. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
No problem.